introduction. Cautious of timing today. The Ramadan starting. First of all, Ramadan will start the Tarawih long. I think the presentation. So we have their ingredients and point of view. The picture on the screen. Let's see, inshallah. On the screen you can see a picture of a forest, and I consider the IT or any project to be a forest, and we want to cross this forest and we have an intention to reach a target that is across the jungle. There could be so many unknowns in there that estimating how long it would take is sometimes referred to as offshoring, and sometimes also referred to as any engagement that happens between a service provider and a service user. So in-house, so they will engage with external providers and they will take care of the IT solutions. However, the business requirements will be given by the government themselves and the representatives, and somehow that knowledge has to be transferred from the business into IT solutions. And the simplest example would be the petitions or anything to do with engaging with the IT services between the users and the government. Let me quickly give you a background on why I think I talk about this. Having helped some of these organizations in the world, like GE, more than 300,000 people, globally available, huge, it's Fortune 6, and it has been known to be some of the most innovative companies in the world, consistently, the best companies to work for. They don't work in ISO well. Same goes with all other organizations, but the one that will relate to the Saudi government would be the Department of Work and Pensions, which is software strategy, helps me understand and abstract out what the solutions are and how they can be implemented in all these regions myself, physically and in both sides of the equation. For example, I used to be the part of a service delivery team when I was in the South Asian region, and the projects were all from North America. On the other hand, when I moved to the UK, there were projects that were being sourced to the South Asian region, and we can empathize. So and then Middle East and the stream. I've worked in the challenges that the team. So with that background, quickly took you through a quick flow of how a traditional project works. The teams are engaged, there's a lot of enthusiasm, you got funding recently, you embark on a journey, requirements are defined, you create the documents, functional documents, requirement documents, whatever you want to call them. Static documentation that is created, they are then by the service provider the agreement through the project, because initially everything is going well, We do the requirements, we do the design, coding, testing, something is nice, some nice features are implemented. But the engagement and the delivery, there is a big gap between that. And I call that false sense of security. Why? This false sense of security is, yes, because we are using the hours, that means we are making progress. No, we might be pushing the wall. We might not be making any progress, but the hours might still be lost. The clock is always ticking. It's we who have to choose the right things to do. And if we are not going the right direction, we need to make sure that we change course and reprioritize regularly, not just once. So what happens is you engage in a team and you decide to meet up and say, okay, what is the progress? After the project is delivered, you realize, oh, our requirements have changed, and what I asked to do, you didn't understand well. And then there is a kind of a fight, or the change management comes in. When I say change, this is a change request management, where you say, oh, we wanted something else, our requirement document said something else, so now you need to raise a change order. And that kills the project, because you are working on the features that are not required anymore, but you have to pay for more. You have to pay more for the features that you actually need, and that you realized after halfway through the project. So I'll go into the detail later on. The moment that happens is called rude awakening, and that is very shameful and painful for both parties. Because one, the service provider, they realize that, and the organization that service, they realize that the budgets that's exhausted, and now we are realizing we did not get any value out of the service provider. So now there is a rift, and that management at the end of the project, that's disastrous, because taking the service loses out quite a lot of money. And there are ways to handle this. So that is, we reset our expectations, and then there is a persistent mistrust between the business and the IT. Business sets some expectations, and IT and the business thinks that IT never delivers on time, while IT is always complaining, is setting unrealistic expectations. So that mistrust in the organization comes in, and all those. So what do? Let's go through an activity. If you can type in your windows, what is a preferred option? So the top one is option A, which is green to red, and the second is from red to green. Which option would you go for? The meaning of these are, if all the reporting in the start is fine, everything, and you fail in the end. If a project starts with the real progress and you see all the complaints on the issues in the start, and then the problem in the right direction, and you can continuously change course. I'll give you about in the window, and you can then share those.
We have Mr. Karimullah has wrote second, option second. Sybil Sahin wrote preference 2. Somebody wrote, Mr. Hamad wrote, will having the big picture at start is really helpful. Option B.
It's good to see that people are thinking in those things about, yes. Ali, is the majority on option 2? Okay. You might not be able to hear me. Okay, so that are probably monthly, quarterly, whatever. If it's a 1-year project, you have monthly reports. Everything is perfectly fine in the start, and near the end, chaos, it's complete emergency. The option is you have all the issues in the start, and then you start addressing those issues, and by the end of the project, you realize, okay, so now we understand the issues and we are moving towards completion. Both these are the answer. However, it's much better to know the issues and address them with the passage of time rather than just assuming. Now we can't just depend on reporting. I will keep emphasizing on this throughout the webinar today, that if we depend on reporting only to show the progress to the PMO or to the portfolio teams, whoever is responsible, we have a flawed system. It will never work. You practice moves, because it's not just the picture that words, it's a system that you can see progressing and see whether you're going in the right to move in the right direction. Back to that in a minute. So, okay, let me go to the next slide. Stuck. So, key basis of today's discussion, and I took you through a little bit of a background of what happens, and I'll now take you through the purpose of outsourcing so that we really understand how we can make the most out of it. Now the three key C outsourcing: if and manuality in-house, there is need to do outsourcing. However, that is generally not the case. We have to engage with external organizations who have expertise in their own niche areas. So these three C's play quite an important. In the next 1 minute or so, please go through the pictures in a flow from left to right, starting from the and write down who do you think the biggest, actually do you consider, Ali, if you can keep sharing the answer, we can have some interactivity.
Somebody's typing in the chat. Answers, okay, I'll type it. We have, if you can not the vendor, both customer and consultant miscommunication.
Customer and consultant.
The customer
It's not the vendor. They can complete fact, and that is what generally happens in the industry. It's just the same mistakes over and over again. And with this, like that, communication, not communication, all and that is generally how it happens. The business team defines objectives, they try to do something wrong. What happens ultimately is documents to transfer information. All we need to do is to ability to steer quickly by meeting regularly instead of just meeting once and then getting the results about a year further down the line. When we are choosing the outsourcing partners and we are trying to make the most out of our projects in the most efficient way, we are actually trying to new balance for the organization, and we do not have the expertise. And the crux of this purpose of outsourcing is we need to keep trying to find the balance. Challenges in outsourcing, I've listed them here. Apologies for the text-based slide, but I wanted to share this with you, and you can later on download the slides as well. This will give you a quick reference of what are the biggest challenges in outsourcing. From my point of view, the biggest challenge is on the top, which is false progress visibility. We depend on reports more than the fact, the actual running increment of this deliverable. There is lack of collaboration. The exercise we just did, the communication is a huge issue. If we depend on documents to discuss and communicate requirements, we are bound to fail. They have destructive. The third one is misunderstood process outcomes. Again, we focus too much on the wants and do not really understand the needs. Also, we are bound by the processes without understanding whether these processes are benefiting us or not. As long as there are steps in the process, we say, okay, so this is how it has been done in the past. We are not willing to change. That's another bigger problem. And I won't go through all of these now because we are focusing on 4 key challenges. And I'll categorize all of these into 4 main areas. And those are interactivity, visible progress, collaborative development, and responding to change. How do we improve? What the category 1 is, should we try to address? We need to make sure the teams have the liberty to update and change the process, improve the process regularly. So same process that is very efficient right now might be a complete waste of time in 6 months' time. We need to allow that thing to happen, and it's generally a continuous improvement. There are so many techniques to do those and engage the teams, because teams themselves are the best people to know whether what I'm deciding is going to be perfectly valid. That's an issue I'm referring to. I'll come back to that in a minute. The last was just following a plan, and that we might go through a little bit more detail in when we go to that forest analogy that I showed you earlier. There are so many ways to the right things. There are so many right answers to one question. We have to understand, let the team decide the decisions based on their community setting rather than just depend. In the current capitalist system, we have focused too much on who is liable. Unfortunately, that is one of the quote in a minute, but the reason why I say that, in a Islamic contract, when we are doing a musharaka, we have mutual liability on any initiative on. What does that mean? And the service user engagement. And if things go well, both get the reward. It's a win-win. If things go wrong, both share the liability. It's not giving you this project that you will lose everything. That is how the texts were working for a while. And I think that's what's happening now in the GCC area as well. It's more of a transactional relationship. What I'm talking about and what I'm promoting is a collaborative relationship. Liability is shared. You empathize, you collaborate more. You try to make each other corner and almost at the right bottom corner up on the right. If there is any defect or a bug found at that time, it's so costly the solution was delivered to. It's so expensive to change those things because things have been set, it is in the live production environment. If you want to change anything, it will result in a huge change in the processes, in the code base, and ultimately it could have an impact on the regression side of things. There could be a, you fix one thing and another, all those things happen. What this methodology is, helps you act as early and reducing the progress. You're seeing the product. If there is something that you wanted 1 month ago and now you think it's not in the right direction, you are allowed to change without raising a methodology allows that to happen. So you can manage those changing priorities and overall scope of the project. That all comes in based on the Musharaka concept. Those contracts are very, very valuable and very successful right now in the West. All the organizations that I have helped, and with quite a lot in those, and it's ultimately, it has to be a win-win to make sure the losses are in the start project, not just in the start and then we fail in the end. Okay. Nami, is everything okay?
Yes, so far good.
I'm just getting this message saying you may be experiencing reduced quality.
Yeah, it's there is some audio issue, but it's going. I mean,
now
it's we're losing voice, but it's coming back. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I think we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Now, so let me Virginia Satir model, very fairly huge losses in the start when we are about to on key initiatives. The main objective of any new change is to have a better future, to improve something. To optimize a part of the system with a program. And when I say this is a cultural and transformational change, not just a change request. Those scenarios need to be in the start. The team is in that learning state. You see the resistance quite a lot because human beings are prone to challenge and resist change. That resistance is overcome after a while. Then you go into chaos because now people who had resistance, they're trying something and things are not working according to what they thought would be the best way to use those resources. Now in the middle, if you see from gray to green, things start increasing, but the challenge with the transformations is most of the transformation programs fail because they stop too early to change with a considerable and measurable result. The minimal I will say would be 3 months, but that will be quite optimistic. That is for an organization that is very quick in adopting and very proactive in making those decisions. After a while you come back to the original. If you see further on the yellow, on the green, on the timeline, the integration state invisible. And then you find the new balance, the balance that I mentioned in the start. The purpose is to find a new balance, and this is where you find it. It's all to do with how you see, whenever we change, when we are trying to change anything, we are engaging with the outsourcing partner. Things might not work according to what we thought as an ideal world, because we do not live in an ideal world. Things change. it might not be on our side, but it could be on the outsourcing partner side. They might be struggling with something. They might have some other external pressures. All sorts of things can happen. Those changes and those new balances need to be well understood, and the key there is collaboration. Okay, I won't spend too much time on this one. Is redefine the outsourcing outcomes in big picture. How do you redefine them? You make sure that you collaborate and you do not depend on transactional relationship or just the document-based or contract-based relationship. It's a musharaka, it's a win-win situation, and the outcomes are in a bigger picture. We live in a non-ideal world, and we will have challenges, but the way we handle those success. Okay, so that defines the challenges. Now we'll go into the proposal. I'll finish, inshallah, but please do focus now, because these are the key initiatives I'm going to talk about. Before I go into the proposal, let's do a quick activity. So if we wanted to go from start to end on this picture, in this, if you can type in your window on how many ways do you think we can use to reach from start to end? How many different paths can we take if we want to move from start to end? You got about 30 seconds.
We have straight line is the only one by brother Muhammad Karimullah. Then we have Mr. Hamad Al-Sadi says unlimited. But can reach in many paths. Supplemented Karimullah.
Okay. Okay. So while you're in cautious of time, the answers that we have till now, yes.
Yeah, Naveed, can you hear me?
All of them are right.
Yeah. Okay.
And all of them can be wrong as well. Unlimited. In proposing any change, there is no predictable path to success. We can have unlimited or infinite paths from start to end on this forest. And if we are standing at the start of this forest without knowing what is involved and what kind of terrain exists, there could be rivers in there, wild animals, mountains, cliffs, valleys, all sorts of things from start to end. We do not know what is about to come. However, if I'm asked to estimate this on how long it would take from in width forest, how long would it take? That's exactly what people ask when they're saying, okay, this is a software project and this is a solution I'm trying to implement or tailor, Oracle implementation, whatever you want, and you ask the team to estimate it, or you ask the supplier to estimate it. They do not have enough information. They have not been through that path. It's a unique implementation for your organization. There will be unknowns. I'm not saying that it's 100% analogous to this example, but think about it. They will not know the problems inside your organization. So you need to understand that they need more information, and they need to be checked every now and then that they're going in the right direction. Because every now and then they will hit a barrier which could be disastrous. There could be a river and they might need your help to move from one place to another. They might hit a valley where they'll have to go down and come back up. That means it will take more time than they anticipated. Sometimes there will be cliffs, sometimes there will be plain lands. So what they anticipated or estimated, they took much less time to do it. So that is a balance that we need to. However, in the end, we You have to mutually understand and take one place to another. Right? We need that for the direction, but it has to be evolving. We need to make sure that we meet up regularly and then change course if required. Not just saying, okay, we'll meet after you made it across the forest or not. That is your problem. Okay. Is it this incremental and iterative model, and agile or lean and agile and lean, whatever you want to call it, it's an incremental iterative model that promotes collaboration. And the simple rule is you meet regularly as a team on a daily basis, 15 minutes max. You meet every 2 weeks for a demo and a working software increment. Then it are called releases, and they could be a combination of 4 iterations, 6 iterations. No fixed duration. Just giving you an example. These are all flexible according to enables you to collaborate a lot and make sure that you're always discussing things and making progress collaboratively and interactively rather than just depending on this transactional relationships. Okay. Okay, so that's how we engage with organizations as well. Our consulting model is completely different. We do not just come in and show you the problems and then go away by just delivering you a report. We actually help you see, strategize, and then plan the
Pressure.
Okay, that's fine. So, cautious of time again, I'll do this quickly. Yes, all of the answers can be made again. They are, it's a concept called Scrum, and they're playing rugby, and they're scrumming. They are, if it's the captain of the team or any member of the team, all of them are together, and that is how Agile and Lean models I'm talking about. It's called, actually teams work together so extensively that it's a collaboration at all levels. And you get the more situation with each other, which is called the daily scrum. It happens for 15 minutes every day. Yesterday, that was the first question. Second one, what I intend to complete today. So you announce it in front of the team that I am going to achieve this today, and then if there are any blockers or anything that is blocked and I can't progress, you mention it to the team that I'm stuck here. And you'll be surprised how valuable that is. That practice has to be well facilitated. The team has to learn from it and then make the most out of that. The other proposal is the face time. Again, I'm talking more and more about interactivity and collaboration. This is research again done by Scott Ambler and Alistair Coburn, and they did this on communication effectiveness. The most important and the most valuable communications happen on a whiteboard face to face. What does that mean? The doodles that we do on the whiteboards, we know none of us are artists. Some of us make horrible pictures, but that is the best way to communicate at all levels. We create, we write down, we create pictures, we make diagrams as well. All the walls are whiteboards. There are no simple walls. And on all those whiteboards, what happens? Instead of just talking, you stand up and you write or draw things on the board according to your discussion. And those are your meeting notes. That is a meeting in progress that is of the highest value and most effective communication. The other thing, again, these sticky notes, these post-it notes, use them as much as you can. Any discussion you have, any brainstorming sessions that we've helped you facilitate, these are live sessions that we conducted, and these are the portfolio. Talking about $100 million plus portfolios that are planned according to this. This is not just a joke, not just a formal projects are done through this with. This is very interactive. The people are discussing things, and every chit on this wall is every project. Now you imagine the traditional way is you have huge reports and formal things and all sorts of things. Again, how do we communicate and make sure that the outsourced partners work together regularly? For the daily scrums to work and the daily stand-ups to work and any communication, any the planning meetings and others, if we have outsourcing partners, there are 3 key technologies that we need to use. One is a video conferencing environment, which is on the right, which is a big TV. Polycom, you might be familiar with it. We do have that on as well in case of emergency or if you get disconnected. But video conferencing makes a huge difference because they can see you, you can see them. You cannot check your email while you're having a meeting. And that is what happens when you're having a meeting on the phone. You get this. You can share the screen and show them the web pages that you have, the plans and everything, and then all the sticky notes and everything, they can be transferred here as well. So it's critical that you have. Unfortunately, general outsourcing relationships are you either talk through email or you talk on the phone. These are the minimal, these are the least effective of communicating. So our typical room headboards that are called smart boards and timelines and everything. I'll skip this. And the key objective and that I had today was to shorten the feedback cycle. We need to shorten the feedback cycle to make sure that we make the most out of the relationship and mutually benefit from it. So in summary, we discussed the purpose, challenge, and proposal, and we went through the 4 categories of individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working software or comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Okay, we went through the iterative models, the best way to communicate and the best way to make the most out of relationships in business setting is interactive, collaborative, and making sure that we both are discussing things and sharing live progress rather than just reporting on a regular basis. Some books you can check later on. You can buy our book as well on principles versus practices. You've seen this already, and there are so many ways we help you in managing change and transforming your organization. You can go through these as well. We help you with assessment, strategy, and coaching. So we do the assessments first. We help you realize and understand the direction of how you can make the most out of outsourcing relationships and your overall organizational growth. And then we help you get there as well. We don't just give you the reports. We actually with you reality, with the ground reality as well. These are my contact details. You can take them later on as well. So now what? Today we discussed some of the key categories and the challenges of outsourcing, some proposals that I'm seeing with the methodology side of things. If you have any specific challenges, if you have any specific problems, if you agree or disagree to any specific points, I'm more than happy to discuss. Just send me an email. I will respond in due course, and we're trying to make sure that we discuss and everybody benefits from the challenges that you have. So feel free, and I'm more than happy to share my contact details later on. If you want a telephonic conversation or video conference, and you can have a Skype conversation, whatever you want, I am available. I'm more than happy to help. The last bit is any questions? Ali?
Thank you very much, Naveed. Folks, my just apology also, I think we are having little interruptions with an audio, so my apologies if you cannot hear me. But if you have any questions, you can put the questions in the question box, or raise your hand, and I can give an opportunity to talk to Brother Naveed. There is one question, Naveed already posted. What are the critical factors that needs to be understood from cultural adaptation that you mentioned? Naveed, can you hear me? Naveed, you there? Is everyone, if you can hear me, could you please type yes in the chat box, please?
If I understand the question correct.
Okay, let me put it in the chat box for you.
And when we have okay. What concept here is called, or the first need to be in video conferencing, and the objective is to see the dependency. There is no direct and right answer for this. It's all the interactivity. The more we collaborate, the better. If we can spend the detail as we can by dividing from the key objectives of the project into the higher level. I'll actually open the picture as well. That will show you, just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. The iterative model that I showed you, this one. So if you start from the outermost objectives of the project, within this, that happens within a day or so. And then what's the return on investment? Just kind of understanding the or not. Within the first 2 or 3 days, you formalize that and you translate those into numbers as well. Breaking down on an iterative basis. You pick up an item, you release item, let's say you had 6 releases defined. In those 6 releases, you break down those epics into whatever level of detail that you can, and ultimately you define the iterations for on how much time we should spend. The recommendation is you dedicate the first 2 weeks. Now that knowledge transfer or that engagement will give you the benefits in the learn, and it will be very hard to sell because traditional mindset is this is all cost. We are wasting money. We actually are not. There is long-term benefit. If the project is about 6 months to 1 year of length, perfect. If it's less than that, enough. But it depends on who is in this product. First couple of releases in those sessions. Keep the line loose. You just give a direction saying this section we're going. If we come across hurdles, if our initial suggestions were not in the right direction, we will change course and things will change. And that is the power of this model. So I hope that answers the question.
Well, thank you very much. I think, Naveed, we might as well call it and conclude the webinar.
And unfortunately, Ali,
60 minutes. We're having some issues with an audio also. So, but I think, folks, all of those who participated, we really want to thank you all, and thank you especially to Brother Naveed Khaja for taking the time and sharing this valuable information. And hopefully this was a useful session for everyone. Thank you very much, Naveed. I would like to extend our gratitude, especially on behalf of Miles, to you. Any concluding remarks you would like to give?
Yes, so if you have any transformation changes required, please feel free to contact me. We are more than happy to help. We are there to help you to help this transformation happen and make the most out of your business relationships and especially the IT projects. The company's name is Morphilibrium Consulting. We are based in the UK and we have coaches all across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and everybody, Ramadan Mubarak, and please do remember us in your prayers in this month, and take care of yourself.